Rolex isn't easing into 2025. They're kicking the door down and tossing watches into the market like it's a clearance sale. New releases are showing up weeks after debut, when the usual wait is closer to half a year. For a brand built on patience and prestige, this is like watching a butler sprint. Turns out the crown isn't just moving fast, it's lapping the field. Normally, collectors get a nice drawn-out tease after Watches and Wonders, but last year, models hit shelves in 3 months. This year, try 6 to 8 weeks. That's not a release cycle, it's a product launch on espresso. Welcome back to Opulent Oasis. Today, it's less about what's coming and more about what just exploded onto the scene. And leading the charge, the GRNR, Bruce Wayne, already spotted in the wild like it skipped the queue entirely. If scarcity was the old Rolex playbook, they might have just tossed it in the shredder. Rolex Oyster Flex Yellow Gold with Tiffany dial. The yellow gold Daytona on Oyster Flex with that head-turning turquoise dial didn't just arrive early, it showed up like it owned the place. Official retail sits at $40,400, but this one skipped the warm-up entirely and dove straight into the spotlight. Most expected it to surface closer to fall. Instead, it landed faster than a gossip leak in a watch forum. Turns out Rolex's idea of fashionably late this year is 6 months early. And it didn't just drop quietly. There were 3 confirmed pickups in the UK within 24 hours. For a dial color that practically screams exclusivity, the early access rollout felt more like a soft launch at a mall kiosk. Nothing says limited, like everyone getting the call at once. Now listings are floating around $146,000 to $152,000. But let's be honest, those are wish list prices dressed up like reality. Most of them are consignment pieces, meaning no one's buying at those numbers. They're just hoping someone else doesn't know better. The real market, probably closer to $65,000, give or take. It's the luxury watch version of putting a used Toyota on eBay with a Bugatti reserve. By releasing this dial so early, and in surprising volume, Rolex may have accidentally killed its own buzz. It's still gorgeous, it's still loud, but the mystery's half the magic, and this one's already overexposed. Buy it for the love of it, sure, but don't expect it to stay rare just because it looks rare. Because the only thing more expensive than being first is being wrong about staying first. Before we move on, why not join the Opulent Oasis crew? Subscribe for fresh, cutting-edge updates. Let's get back to it. New Oyster Perpetual range. The latest Oyster Perpetuals in 36mm and 41mm aren't just out, they're everywhere. The market's swimming in pastel dials, with lavender, beige, and the fan-favorite pistachio leading the charge. What was meant to feel exclusive now looks like it got restocked at Costco. Apparently the hottest flex this year is looking like an expensive macaron. Retail sits at $6,850 to $7,200, but the resale world has these listed between $17,800 and $20,300. Nearly 3 times retail for what's technically an entry-level Rolex. Early demand? Sure. But with this many flooding the grey market, the whole thing's starting to feel more supply than surprise. Hard to call it rare when everyone's trying to sell the same dial. Here's the twist. The discontinued Tiffany OP still holds steady in the $20,000 range, while the Celebration dial, once hyped, now kind of awkwardly priced, just sat there. Now the new OPs are being listed at the same levels despite being fresh out the oven. It's like pricing a new paperback like a signed first edition. Nice try. Prices are already dipping. Slowly but noticeably. Dealers are watching them settle, like champagne fizz finally calming down. The watches are still fantastic, but paying triple retail, that's just funding the fantasy. At the end of the day, it's a $7,000 watch in pistachio drag. Let's not lose the plot. Rolex Titanium, Yacht-Master 42mm. The Titanium, Yacht-Master. 42mm is that Rolex no one ever sees, but everyone swears exists. Full titanium case, full titanium bracelet, and a brushed finish that looks like it bench-pressed a Submariner before breakfast. Think of it as the Rolex that skipped leg day and still outruns everything else. Even most authorized dealers haven't laid eyes on one. In the UK, barely 5 listed. Retails $16,400, but it's popped up around $27,700 on the grey market. Not because it's flashy, it's the opposite. It's just so rare it practically ghosted the entire watch community. If Batman had a dive watch, this would be it. And no, not the BLNR. No precious metals, no shouty bezel, just raw, stripped-back Rolex doing quiet exclusivity. It's not trying to impress, and that's exactly why it does. But early buyers take note. Grey market hype tends to peak fast and fade faster. Rarity doesn't always mean ROI. This one might be titanium, but panic buying it still hits like a steel uppercut. Zooming out, the broader market's finally calm. Prices aren't crashing, just breathing. There's a sweet spot now. Above retail, but not stupid. And people? They're tired of doing the market charade. No one wants to buy a leather keychain just to prove they're worthy. Turns out the real flex is skipping the audition and wearing the watch anyway. Rolex GMT-Master range. The GMT-Master 2 lineup is still the king of consistency, with the Batgirl topping the charts. Stainless steel, Jubilee bracelet, black and blue bezel, retails $12,350, but it's been vanishing from listings faster than weekend motivation. If Rolex made a disappearing act, this would be it. The Pepsi and Sprite, yep, the lefty one, are holding their own too, with retail prices floating between $12,300 and $18,200. Whether it's Jubilee or Oyster, the GMTs all play in the same price arena, and collectors haven't stopped chasing them. Apparently, flipping the crown to the left was all it took to flip the market too. At the end of the day, the GMT range just keeps ticking. Stylish, practical, and impossible to ignore. It's the travel watch that travels off shelves. Rolex Submariner range. The Submariner lineup never really goes out of style, but lately the Starbucks is stealing the spotlight. Black dial, green ceramic bezel, and just enough flair to make the classic black-on-black look, like it skipped leg day. Turns out a splash of green is all it takes to turn reliable into irresistible. The all-black sub is still the default setting for dive watch lovers, but the Starbucks, priced around $15,200 to $16,400, with retail just under $12,700, adds a twist without getting loud. It's still a sub, just with better taste in color. Basically, it's the same legend, just dressed for brunch instead of boardrooms. Rolex Daytona range. The stainless steel Daytonas are still running the show. Panda and black dial, neck and neck. The Panda gets the headlines, but the black dial? Quietly MVP. Think of it like the espresso of watches. Strong, no frills, gets respect. They've both been moving consistently. No hype cycle, just constant demand. Some say they're overplayed. The market disagrees. Oysterflex models keep making noise. Ghost, Pikachu, Paul Newman, they're selling like summer hoodies in a heat wave. The price hike earlier this year slowed things down, but they bounced back fast. Ghosts now go for around $49,500. Pikachu clocks in at $51,000, and the Paul Newman isn't far off at $43,000. Someone once said wearing yellow gold is loud. Unless it's this one, then it's just cool. The Meteorite. Daytona is playing hard to get, and that's exactly the point. Discontinued in 23, teased again in 25, and still nowhere to be seen. Prices are orbiting $82,000 to $89,000, and the white gold version recently landed with a collector in Monaco. Reserved for serious buyers only, the kind who probably have their AD's birthday in their calendar. One collector said trying to get one is like winning the lottery, if the lottery required a purchase history. Daytonas don't follow trends, they are the trend. Steel models are still the first watch holy grail. A Panda gifted as a birthday watch recently? Strong move. There's a reason it's called a grail. It's not meant to be easy. One guy said buying a Daytona feels like getting into a club that doesn't even have a sign, and that's exactly the vibe. Still untouchable. Still king. So, are early drops killing the thrill? Would you really drop $20,000 on a pistachio dial? And is the Daytona still king? Or just coasting on crown cred? Sound off in the comments. We're all ears. If you're into raw, unfiltered watch talk, hit like, smash that sub, and binge the rest of Opulent Oasis. We've got plenty more heat coming. Catch you next time.